Peace and Black Power family, peace and Black Power family. It's the Prince of Pan-Africanism, the Nat Turner of the public education and mental health systems. The Nat Turner of the public education and mental health systems. Yes, Brother Greg, I am still in North Carolina. I am still in North Carolina. And I'm joining you tonight from a city that I have never visited before in the great black state of North Carolina. And I'm joining you from Winston-Salem. The Prince of Pan-Africanism has made his very first visit to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And if you live in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, or if you are not too far away from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, perhaps you may be in Greensboro, perhaps you may be in Raleigh, perhaps you may be in Durham, perhaps you may be in Charlotte, maybe you're 90 minutes away in Greenville or Columbia, South Carolina. I want to invite you all to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, tomorrow morning, Saturday, December the 19th. There will be a very special Black Parent Brunch and Black Parent Advocate book release. A very special Black Parent Brunch and Black Parent Advocate book release here tomorrow morning in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And it will be held at Forsyth Seafood. Forsyth Seafood, Black-owned Forsyth Seafood, here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 108 North Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. 108 North Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Tomorrow morning from 10 o'clock until 1 p.m. Breakfast will be there for your purchase. You will have to purchase the breakfast, but it will be there for you. Okay, a special seafood breakfast menu tomorrow morning. If you don't have time to participate in the conversation or the Q&A session, and you just want to come and get a book and take a picture with the Prince, you can do that. Stop in, get your book, take a picture with the Prince. The event is free tomorrow. It is absolutely free. Forsyth Seafood, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Dr. Umar's first visit ever to Winston-Salem. 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, Black Parent Brunch and book signing. The books are $50, credit card, cash, or Cash App. Winston-Salem tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, 108 North Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, Forsyth Seafood. So with that, I want to engage you all in a little conversation tonight. Let me first remind you all that we need more money to complete the renovations on the Marcus Garvey side of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey campus. We're running short. You all know this. So please, if you can, put some of your Christmas shopping money to the side for the future of Black boys. Please, if you can, put some of your Christmas shopping money to the side for the future of Black boys. Get on your Cash App, $FDMG School. Get on your PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Get out your checkbook and money orders. P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. Please go to drumarjohnson.com and sign up to be a loyal donor. Go to drumarjohnson.com right now and sign up to be a loyal donor. Let that be your Christmas gift to Black boys. You're going to become a loyal donor before the year is out. Let that be one of your New Year's resolutions, to become a loyal donor of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Cash.me/$FDMG Academy. Cash.me/$FDMG Academy. Cash.me/FDMG School. Cash.me/FDMG School. Cash.me/FDMG School. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. Go to the website and join the Loyal Donors Club. I'm not going to keep you guys long tonight. I want to get some sleep so I can get up and be on time to Forsyth Seafood for the special Winston-Salem debut Black Parent Advocate book release tomorrow, 10 to 1, Forsyth Seafood, 108 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. You don't need a ticket. You don't need to register. Just bring your African pride. You don't need a ticket. You don't need to register. Just show on up 10 to 1 tomorrow. If you can't stay for the conversation and just want to purchase a book, that's all fine. But let me get a few more pictures from my beautiful African queens, because every time I post pictures with our beautiful African sisters, I get a whole entourage of inbox messages with sisters asking, who is this sister? And why were you hugged up so close with this sister? And is this your woman? And all this other stuff. But what I want to do tonight for the next hour is I want to talk about how our history could have been different. I want to talk about how our history could have been different. And I want to point out some things that occurred in our history that, had they not occurred or would have occurred, could have totally changed Black history forever. Okay? So what are some things that could have happened that could have changed Black history forever? Let's start with number one. And there's many of these. These are not the only ones. In fact, I want to do a whole book on how Pan-African history from Africa to Arizona, you understand, from the United Kingdom to the Caribbean, from Central and South America to Australia. I want to do a whole book on how Black history could have been different for Black people. African history globally could have been different for Black people. Because for me, history should be instructive. History should not just be celebratory. Far too often for a lot of us, history is celebratory. We just want to celebrate the great things we did, but we don't want to take time and study the mistakes that we made as a people. But I want you all to understand that only if we study the mistakes that we made as a people will we be able to grow and advance and overcome those contradictions in the future. Unfortunately, the way in which we study African history globally, it's more celebratory than instructive. It is very celebratory, but it is not very instructive. We talk about how great the ancestors were on the Nile Valley coast, but we don't talk about the critical mistakes they made that allowed the Neanderthal to invade our original classical African civilizations. Don't just tell me about the greats. Tell me about the mistakes. And even if you don't see mistakes, tell me about some of the things that happened that, had we prevented them from happening, we would be in a better place. Okay? Okay? That is not dandruff in my hair, you coon. Okay? That is not dandruff. Okay? I had some African spiritual work done today. And so that is ashe. That is medicine in my hair. Not dandruff. I don't have dandruff. You should be focusing on my message today. That's what's wrong with you coons. That is what's wrong with you coons. You love being coons. You are the worst Africans that have ever walked the planet. You are psychologically emasculated males. I wish you didn't exist, but because you do, it is my obligation to try to transform you and your nothingness into a somethingness that can benefit African people. I do not hate the coon. I detest him, but I do not hate him. because it was the black community that gave birth to the coon. See, when we have problems in the community, we have to step back and ask ourselves, who gave birth to self-hatred? Who gave birth to the coon? Now, we know that the Neanderthal power structure gave birth to the first generation of coons. We know that. We know that the Neanderthal power structure created the disproportionality of power that exists between black and white. We know that. We know that they created the Willie Lynch syndrome. We understand that. So the Neanderthal gave birth to the coon, gave birth to post-traumatic slavery disease, gave birth to self-hatred. But may I ask you a question? May I ask you a question? Who rebirthed the coon? Who rebirthed the Willie Lynch? Who rebirthed post-traumatic slavery disease? You know who rebirthed it? We rebirthed it. The black man and woman rebirthed the coon. The white man gave birth, but you rebirthed. He created, and then you procreated. Your oppressor created the Negro, and then you procreated the Negro. You see that? He created the Negro, but you procreated the Negro. Every time an African baby is born, after we pray over that beautiful African life and wish that baby well and wish their parents well, we then have to cross our fingers. We then have to cross that fingers because that little beautiful African baby, that little boy or girl, that divine gift of supreme consciousness, in 20 years could damn well be a coon. In 30 years could damn well be a coon. I'm just giving y'all straight talk tonight. When we celebrate our high school graduates, and you know I speak at more graduation commencements than everyone else in the conscious community put together. But after we celebrate our high school graduates, you have to step back and ask yourself, how many of this graduating class of 500, how many of this graduating class of 300, how many of this graduating class of 1,000, how many of this graduating class of 5,000 are going to be coons? You have to ask yourself that. How many of these new PhDs and JDs and PsyDs and EDDs, how many of them are going to serve the power structure? We have to be honest. When I see our high school athletes, our football players and basketball players and track stars, you have to ask yourself, which one of these African children are going to go to college for 4 years, make it to the Olympics, make it to the NBA, make it to the NFL, and turn into a coon? Charles Barkley was once a beautiful little boy. He's a coon now. Shaquille O'Neal was once a beautiful little boy. He is a coon now. Do you understand? Sometimes we don't like to look at both sides. Sometimes we don't like to look at both sides of the coin. Frederick Douglass said it's better to raise strong children than to repair broken men. I am not interested in building a broken male reconstruction factory. I'm not interested in that. I don't want to fix broken men. Because once white power takes your spirit, you're done. You'll never be the same again. It's like a computer that's been infected with a virus. Once you take the spirit out, it'll never be the same again. We have to raise our boys and girls right the first time. And if you got your children worshiping Christmas, that's a coon being created. Your child is worshiping materialism. That's a coon being created. Your son can't wait to be the next football player, basketball player. He is a baby coon waiting to be birthed. I'm just being honest. Everybody seen the movie Alien, right? Saw the movie Alien, Sigourney Weaver. It's my favorite science fiction trilogy. Aliens 1, 2, and 3 are my favorite. The alien is a perfect symbol for the Negro. So you have this African boy or girl, this child is born, this beautiful African baby, sent from the Most High God. Okay? Because we're the only people who actually birth children who have God's DNA. We are the only people who actually birth children who have God's DNA. We are the only people who birth children who actually have galactic genes within their body. So you have this beautiful African child. Now let's look at the alien. The alien comes, and the alien is a metaphor for white supremacy, white power. So the alien comes, and what does it do? It impregnates the Negro with a seed. It impregnates the Negro child with a seed. Okay? And that alien that is going to impregnate the Negro child with the seed is the public school system. It's the public school system. It's the media system. It's the entertainment system. It's going to impregnate the Negro child against its will. Notice when you watch the Alien movie, nobody ever voluntarily opened their mouth and let the alien lay an egg. Nobody voluntarily opened their mouth to let the alien lay an egg. The alien forced its way. It forced the mouth open, and then it lays the egg in the brain or in the chest. Your heart and your mind, your soul and your intellect. So the alien lays the egg. White supremacy lays the egg within the black child's heart or mind or both. And then that egg germinates. It gesticulates. And after a certain amount of time, it brings forth a new creation. And while that egg is gesticulating and maturing within the mind and the heart of its victim, once the alien puts the egg within the brain or chest cavity of the victim, you don't know that they have an alien inside of them, do you? You don't even realize that there's an alien inside of the person. They still seem like a regular conscious African. They still have their kente cloth on. They still got their Hotep name. They still making videos on YouTube. They're still going to Africa. They're still talking black, right? And so for a few years, they still look like a regular African. And then all of a sudden, one day you sitting there with this Negro, this African, who had the alien's egg, the white supremacy egg, planted in their brain or chest cavity. And y'all sitting there, and all of a sudden, they start having these attacks, and their body is shivering, and the chest pop out, and this new thing comes out. This ugly little baby comes out, the African. And guess what that little thing is? That is the coon. That little alien that busts out once white supremacy laid an egg in the mind of the African. And then after a couple years, out of nowhere, the chest cavity busts out and that little ugly thing comes out and it starts screaming. That's the coon. That is the birth of the coon. And if you notice when you watch the Alien movie, once the coon busts out the soul of the Negro, once the coon, go back and watch Aliens tonight, brothers and sisters. Once that little ugly thing pop out the chest, once the coon is birthed, the original Negro dies on the spot. Once the alien, which is the coon, once that new, ugly, dysfunctional, death-seeking creature is brought forth out of the body of the African, once the coon is born, the African dies. When you watch Alien, as soon as the alien is born, that original human dies. What is the point that I'm making? What is the point that I'm making? The point that I'm making is the coon and the African cannot coexist in the same body. One will live, one will die. The coon and the African cannot coexist in the same body. One will live, one will die. The coon and the African cannot coexist in the same body. One will live, one will die. Now let's talk about some things that could have changed African history forever. J. Ogun, you are a coon and you have no right to have your Instagram name contain the name of the divinity that walks with me in this life. Your name is Tony Ogun? Are you kidding me? Your name is Tony Ogun. How in the hell does Tony, a European name, go with Ogun? Help me understand that. How the hell can you be Tony Ogun? See, it only takes a little bit. It only takes a little bit. It only takes a little bit of white supremacist energy to activate the coon chip in the average Negro. I know y'all been waiting for me to say it. I know y'all been waiting for me to say it, so I'm going to say it one more time. It only takes a little bit of white supremacy energy to activate the coon chip in the average Negro. Ain't no such thing as no Tony Ogun. Your name is not Tony Ogun. Your name is Tony the Coon. I'm going to give you a naming ceremony. See, this is what we're going to do for the coons. I'm trying to catch my breath because I don't want to be comical tonight. This is serious business. Miss Sweet Brown Sugar, stop laughing. I'm trying to get serious. Bigger Favor. Adalia J. Mazi Igwe. Shout out. Okay, listen. This is what I want to do once we open up the Marcus Garvey Elementary School. I want us to have a naming ceremony for all the coons. We're going to rename the coons since they want to serve oppression, since they want to serve black failure, since they want to align themselves against the ancestors. We're going to have a naming ceremony. In African culture, we always name the children. In every African culture, there is a naming ceremony for the children. It represents the birthing, the rebirthing into the community. So since we have a naming ceremony for the African children, we need to have a naming ceremony for the coons because they are rebirthing themselves as flunkies and functionaries and stooges of the European power structure. So let's have a naming ceremony for all the coons. And I want Tony Ogun. Tony Ogun, we're going to change your name, brother, because you have no right calling yourself Ogun, brother. I am a son of Orisha Ogun, one of God's arch divinities. How dare you? How dare a coon wear the name Ogun? Ogun is the divinity of energy, of power, of strength, of will, of nation building, of trail blazing, of truth, of justice. I am Dr. Ifatunde Ogun Tade. You're not Tony Ogun. You are Tony Okun. Do you hear me? You are Tony Okun. We have to stop letting people name themselves after African divinities who don't represent the spirit of the divinity. You ain't no damn Tony Ogun. You Tony Coon. So we're going to have a naming ceremony to rebirth Tony Okun. We're going to rename all the Negroes. And if they don't want to come and get their new name, we will mail them a certificate. Dear Coon, on behalf of Dr. Umar Ifatunde Oguntade and the International Movement for the Independence and Protection of African People, you have hereby been excommunicated from the African race, and we have rebirthed you into the European power structure. From this day forward, you are no longer Tony Ogun. You are Tony the Coon. I told you before, the difference between the Negro and the Coon is the Negro is innocent in his ignorance. The Coon knows better and chooses to be a fool. The Negro is innocent in his ignorance. The Coon knows better and chooses to be a buffoon. And what is the difference between you love your white women? What are you on my live for then? Use another one who's going to get a new name. What's this Negro's name? What's this ninja? Where that ninja at? Neil Bird. Is that? No, that's not Neil Bird. Wait a minute. This Negro name is Kuta Kinte. How your name gonna be Kuta Kinte and you on my live talk about how you love European females? This Negro name is Kuta Kinte. So this is what we gonna do. We're going to rebirth you too. We're going to... Where are my beautiful African queens at tonight? Where are my single sisters at? Where y'all at? I should have been married by now. Where my single nappy-headed curvy can cook well, can be committed to consciousness and creativity? We're the sisters who can hold me down. Who? I need 2 queens for FDMG. We need 2 queens for FDMG. 2 queens. 2 queens for FDMG. I need 2 serious sisters. Nappy-headed, gorgeous, curvy, good cooks, confidential. Keep your damn mouth shut and help me build the empire. Where y'all at? Where y'all at? If you got some sons, that's a plus, because I don't think I'm having any more children. So if you got some sons, then they can be my sons, okay? What is FDMG? Did somebody just ask what is FDMG? We're going to have a lot of birthing. We're going to be rebirthing a lot of coons at the Coon Convention. Did somebody really just ask what is FDMG? Did somebody really just ask that? You mean to tell me we've been out here for 6.5 years slaving, breaking our backs, trying to build a school for our boys, and you got the nerve to ask what is F? We're going to rebirth you too. But let's get back to Kunta Kinte for a minute. This ninja's name is Kunta Kinte. This ninja's name was Kunta Kinte, and he said he's in love with European females. And no disrespect to the European females who are on the feed, although you shouldn't be. This is a confidential live for Africans only. But for those European females who couldn't resist, 6'3", tall, dark, and Hampton, North Philadelphia beard, I will not date you. I don't date outside my race, okay? I respect you as a human being. I will never date you. I'm loyal to black women only. Don't take it personal, but if you do, I really don't care. But the point I wanted to make was, how can your name be Kunta Kinte and you in love with white girls? So we're going to rebirth you, Kunta Kinte, and your name is going to be Coon. Coon. Your name, your name is going to be, your name is going to be Coon, Coon, Kunta, Kunte. Y'all got me crying. Y'all got me crying. Coon, Kunta, Kunte. Okay? So your name will almost sound the same, but it's going to be a little different. It's going to be Kunta, Kunte, instead of Kunta Kinte. That's what we're going to do for him. Okay? Brothers and sisters, I thank God that I was brought into black consciousness at 9 years old. I thank God that right here, y'all got me laughing so hard I'm crying. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But I do thank God I came to consciousness as a 9-year-old. I thank God that I chose to be a psychologist at 8 years old, right here in the state of North Carolina. Winston-Salem, I want to see y'all all tomorrow. Come on out. Okay, Forsyth Seafood, 108 or 109 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. There will be a special Black Parent Advocate brunch and book release tomorrow. All are invited. It is free. It doesn't cost you any money. Come on out. Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham, Greenville, South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina. Come on up to Winston-Salem tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock, 10 to 1, 3 hours only. Make sure you get there before 1, okay? But support black business, black-owned seafood. Get you some shrimp and grits and have a conversation with Dr. Umar. If you got some paperwork I need to see, you can bring me the paperwork. So we done already renamed 2 coons. I'm going to come up with a name for Charles Barkley, too. And I'm going to come up with a name with Roland Martin. We got to give Roland Martin a name. Roland, Charles, Shaq. We got to get some new names for some of these people. Now, let me do this with my phone because I'm holding it with my hands. Because my hands, I don't have nothing to hold them up with. So give me 1 second, y'all. I got to shake my hands off. Okay. I'm back, brothers and sisters. Okay. Let's talk about the 10 things that could have been different. Let's talk about 10 things that could have been different. Let's talk Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal. I like that. I like that. Okay. Nah, Stephen A. Smith, I'm going to hold back on him. I've seen some signs of consciousness out of Stephen A. Smith. We were on a flight together, Stephen A. and I. We were sitting right next to each other, right across the aisle in first class. This is several months ago. Stephen A. Smith and Dr. Umar were right across from each other. He knew it was me. He didn't speak, and I didn't speak to him either. And that's okay. But I did see him take a couple stands. Like he took a stand when they hired, what's the guy's name? 2-time NBA MVP, the point guard to be the coach of the Brooklyn Nets, Steve Nash. And Stephen A. Smith said that, and I agree with what Stephen A. Smith said. He said, no black first-year coach is going to get to coach the Brooklyn Nets with KD and Kyrie. No black first-year black coach would have got that job. And Charles Barkley, you know, who's the #1 watchdog for white power, he quickly attacked Stephen A. for that. But Stephen A. Smith stood his ground. So I appreciated that because Stephen A. Smith, I clearly had him on the coon bus. I had him on a coon bus, but once I saw him stand up like that, I'm going to give him a few points. Okay? That doesn't mean he can't go back on the bus. But I'm going to let him breathe a little bit. Why didn't he speak to me? Because he was about to sign a multi-million-dollar contract, and the last thing he needed was for white folks to see him shaking hands with the most revolutionary black man in America. That's why he didn't speak to me on that flight. Oh, he knew who I was. He looked right in my face, and I looked right in his face. He knows who I am. They all know who I am. Shaq, Charles, all celebrities know Dr. Umar. All of them. There's not a rapper who don't know me. There's not an actor, a comedian. They all know who I am. They're just too scared to be seen with me in public. Now, let's get into the conversation. Okay? You got people with African names acting like straight coons. How are you going to have an African name and be a coon? See, there's three types of Africans. There are Africans, Africants, and Africoons. There are Africans, Africants, and Africoons. Let me explain this. Africans, Africants, and Africoons. Now, the Africans are Dr. Umar types, right? We believe in our people. We believe we have a God-given destiny. We believe in the ability for the African race to rehabilitate itself. We are the Africans because we believe I can. We believe we can. We believe we shall can, right? I can, we will. Those are the Africans. I am an African. The most honorable Marcus Garvey was an African. The most honorable Robert Sobukwe, Steve Biko, Queen Mother Winnie Mandela, Harriet Tubman, Ida B. Wells, Fannie Lou Hamer, Sojourner Truth, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Kwame Nkrumah, Dedan Kamati, Julius Nyerere. You understand me? These were the Africans. See, when you say I'm an African, you're saying I can. African, the African says I can. Whenever you say I'm an African, you're telling the world I can and I will. It is not just identity. It is a declaration of intent. To be an African is not just identity. It is a declaration of intent. African, I can. ICAN are the last words, or IKAN. Those of us who are revolutionary Pan-Africanists, we spell Africa with a K. So people will know that this is a Pan-Africanist speaking. We spell African with a K. So IKAN, I can, right? So you have the Africans. Those are the revolutionaries. We believe we can. Those are the Africans. But then you have the Africans. The Africans. These are the Negroes who don't believe they can win. The Africans are the black people around the world who don't believe we can win. They're scared. They're apprehensive. They're suspicious. They're paranoid. These are the Africans. And we have a three-way civil war being fought within the African family amongst the Africans. Those are the revolutionaries. The Africans, those are the scared Negroes. And then you have the third group. And then you have the third group. And then you have the third group. So you have the Africans, the revolutionaries, the Africans, the scared Negroes, and then you have the Africoons. The Africoons. AFRICOONS or AFRIKOONS. The Africoons. The Africoons are the enemies of African people. These are the Roland Martins, the Charles Barkleys. These are the Africoons, the black people who work against the best interests. The Dr. Umar detractors on YouTube. These are the Africoons. The Africans don't know better. But we can save the Africans. They're the Negroes. The Africans are the Negroes, okay? They on the fence. We can save some of the Africans, right? The Africans can save some of the Africans, but we cannot save the Africoons. Once they become an Africoon, it is over. See, when the alien plants that seed within the African, when the alien plants the seed within the African becomes an African. But once that alien brings forth a new life, once that coon pop out the chest, it's over. They're no longer an African. They are an Africoon. Do you understand? Africans, Africans, Africoons. Africans, Africans, Africoons. Africans, Africans, Africoons. So now, Tony Ogun is an Africoon. That's why we're going to rename him. Kunta Kinte is an Africoon. So we're going to rename him Kunta Kunte. And Tony Ogun is going to be Tony the Coon. Okay? So now, let's talk about 10 things that should have happened. Wait a minute. I got to shake my hands again. Ashe.